Hello everyone, my name is RWBY and I have cracked the code on the parts of Alyx's backstory that are missing as of RWBY Volume 9, Chapter 6. In short, Lewis is Ozpin, and Alyx is the Jabberwocker. We finally have our missing piece of the puzzle in Lewis. Lewis is what really allows this theory to thrive. So I will start by talking about him and then lead into Alyx from there. This is actually my third theory video uncovering the truths about the Ever After. In the first one, I said that Alyx never truly left the Ever After, and in my second one, I claimed that the Ever After is really the afterlife for Remnant. After Chapter 6 now, both of those theories are alive as ever. But I'm going to start this off by returning to something that I said in the first theory video, that Alyx never left, which I made right after Chapter 1 and the intro were first released. Take a listen. For the girl who fell through the world, there is no guarantee that Alyx ever returned, though the overall accuracy of the story does suggest that someone knew enough about her story to tell it after it was over. Whether that somebody already knew about the Ever After before she even went there, or someone else returned to Remnant in her place. Chapter 6 introduces us to Alyx's brother, Lewis. He is that someone else. He is the missing piece. Jean says that Lewis was kind and clever, while his sister Alyx was selfish and cruel. Jean also says that the tree means death for anyone who goes to it, but according to the Curious Cat, people who aren't from the Ever After, like Alyx or Lewis or Jean and Team RWBY, aren't affected by that rule. They instead would be allowed to return to Remnant. Ultimately, the story goes that Alyx and Lewis left Jean behind and went to the tree. Jean thinks that Alyx sacrificed Lewis to the tree so that she could escape, and she supposedly returned to Remnant and wrote her story of the girl who fell through the world. The key here is to understand that Jean does not know all of the details, and the Curious Cat has also been leaving important details out ever since Team RWBY met them. So we have two different unreliable narrators here, and we do not truly know what happened to Alyx after she left Jean behind. Jean doesn't know, and the Curious Cat probably won't say. So what happened to Alyx and Lewis at the tree? Once I saw what Kaleido Arms here had to say about it, my theory brain went wild, and everything that I've come up with for this video is based on this. It's not entirely this, but it is based on it. One key distinction here that's also in my theory that the Ever After is the afterlife is that Penny is little. So I don't completely agree with everything Kaleido Arms here has to say, but to get on with the video, Jean had this to say about Alyx right before she left him behind.
She said she wouldn't let anyone get in the way of her leaving. That she'd do whatever it takes. And then she was gone.
That was Alyx's motivation, to make it out of the Ever After, no matter the cost. She would be entirely more than willing to sacrifice her brother Lewis to do that. But the difference is, Lewis would be willing to do the same. If Oz is actually Lewis, Oz would have taken charge, would have probably taken control of Lewis's body for some time, because he also needs to leave. Because remember, Oz is in this secret war against Salem. He cannot be stuck in another realm for all of eternity. He needs to make it out. He needs to leave and get back to Remnant, or else Salem wins by default. So as much as Oz might have regretted it, he sacrificed Alyx to make it out, and then he had to live the rest of Lewis's life having killed Lewis's sister. To me, Lewis would never have forgiven him for that, even given the circumstances. Then, to make peace with essentially killing Alyx, Oz made her immortal in the form of a fairy tale character. If Alyx couldn't live her own life, her life would have been shared with everyone else's through her story. Since Oz was preserving Alyx, he removed himself from the story and changed some other details around. You might be asking why I haven't mentioned the original Jabberwocker of Alyx's story. Alyx fought a Jabberwocker, right? How could she be it if she fought it? But you're forgetting that the original fairy tale is made up and changed from what actually happened, as we now know in this chapter. John's recollection of what actually happened up to Alyx leaving him doesn't have the Jabberwocker at all. It could have happened afterward, but I don't think so. I think that was just her ascending into the purpose of the Jabberwocker. And Oz, as Lewis, saw what had become of her and wrote it into the story as nothing more than an obstacle for her to get to the tree. The finishing touch was to claim that Alyx wrote the book, in a final declaration of sorts that her life went on. Oz also has to be Lewis because they had to enter the Ever After somehow. If it took Team RWBY using the Relic of Creation in a really bonkers way for them to enter the Ever After, it kind of has to go the same for Lewis and Alyx to do this same. So who else do we know that had access to other realms somehow, perhaps through the relics? The only answer to that would be Oz. Now, that's all I really have to say about Lewis and Oz. So I'm going to transition the rest of this to talking about Alyx and the Jabberwocker. Given the fact that in this theory, Alyx was left behind, part of the cost of somebody leaving with the other person being doomed to stay is that they ascend. And who would Alyx ascend into? The Jabberwocker. Alyx saw the Ever After as a game, where the rules don't apply to her. She could do whatever she wanted, and she could break the rules of the world. And that's essentially what the Jabberwocker is too. The Jabberwocker breaks the fundamental rule of ascension with the people that it kills. That is the only way people don't ascend. They're eaten by the Jabberwocker. Alyx became that because that's who Alyx is. And remember, in the Ever After, you are ascended into a new purpose based on who you already are. Or if you stray from that purpose too much, you are given a new one to suit who you have become. In other words, the Ever After doesn't turn you into somebody that you're not. Alyx became the Jabberwocker because that's who she is. And that would also lend a lot to RWBY's character growth in Volume 9. If the Ever After really made Alyx the hero of this childhood fantasy fairy tale, and the Ever After really turned her into a monster, how is that going to affect RWBY? A lot. If we're really trying to traumatize Ruby Rose as much as possible this volume, which seems to be the goal, Alyx being the Jabberwocker would be an amazing way to do that. Also, pay attention to what Oz said about Alyx in Volume 8.
A young girl flees the consequences of a choice to a magical place, but having never learned from her initial failure, she only succeeds in spreading it.
This is somewhat similar to how Alyx is referred to in the rest of the story, but not entirely. He focuses on her mistakes in a way that somebody like Lewis, who is there for the whole story, would too. And also consider what the Curious Cat said about Alyx, that she learned her lesson. If she was really someone who tried to cheat the system, she would ultimately learn her lesson by losing to the system that she was trying to cheat, and probably become the Jabberwocker. I'm also nowhere near the first person to suggest that the Jabberwocker is Alyx. I've seen that theory floated around a lot, especially after Chapter 3. The Jabberwocker is humanized a lot in that episode. We are made to feel sympathetic towards it at the hands of Neo. It jabbers, it walks, it is searching, it is seeking, it has a home of sorts in a ruined, dilapidated acre. It finds scrap and wants to fix something. I could easily see it being Alyx trying to search for Lewis, or search for a way to fix herself. This all makes way too much sense to me after Chapter 6 and we've gotten so much of Alyx's lore. Volume 9 has really given us a feast for theory crafting and lore possibilities, especially with Alyx. Every new episode, there's something more that you could probably attach to the consequences for the original story that she had. So, what is your theory for Alyx? Do you think that she left? Do you think that she's still around? And if so, what purpose or what character do you think she is now? Let me know down below. And while you're around, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. I'm Raijin Rising. Have a good one.